My name is Matt.
My name is Abigail.
And my name's Ophelia.
And this is the Polyglot Progress Podcast.
Yay!
Alright, so as you can see, today we have a special guest here on episode 18.
Proud of you.
Hello.
Hi! Thank you for having me. It's such an honor. That sounded really
We're happy
sarcastic.
to
I
have
mean,
you.
genuinely, it was lovely to be here. It looks so nice.
Alright, so what are we talking about today?
Well, first you gotta ask Ophelia what she
No.
does.
Ophelia, what do you do? What kind of stuff do you
It
do
was
here
number one on the
YouTube?
list, Abigail. So,
Number one on the list.
what do I do? So I, like you, I learn languages. Not quite as I'm not quite as accomplished as you are.
We disagree, but okay.
Well, okay, that's fine.
We've
We
been
can
told
agree
to be
disagree.
friendly on this episode of the podcast.
We can have a fight instead. Like, it's usually you two. We can change it up.
It'll be like a triangle fight.
All of us fighting with
Honestly.
each other at once.
Exciting. I look forward to that happening in the main discussion. It's not a sensitive topic, so it'll be fine. So yeah, I make videos online and teach languages and learn languages and all of those things.
Fantastic.
And what do
And
you
you've
two
been-
do?
Oh my gosh, what do we do? We weren't prepared for this.
Well, I wasn't prepared for either, even though you told me, so it's all fine. You know, even playing field.
We upload our faces 3 times a week and hope people don't
Get sick
hate
of
it.
And like hour-long things as well. So it's not like
Yeah,
it's
that's a
impressive.
little-
So
Thank you.
Thank you.
So you have hardcore fans.
But you have been uploading every day this entire month, haven't you?
I have.
And you've
like,
been uploading like quality stuff every day.
thanks. That's very
So
kind of
like
you.
that's gotta be
I haven't
been
had
a
as
lot.
much time to learn languages as I would want to, though.
I know,
that's
that's we feel that as well.
That's a
trade-off.
balance that's quite hard to strike. It's really weird
Yeah.
because you are here, but I'm supposed to look here because that's the actual
I
video.
know,
so I'm doing
I know.
really badly. But yeah, so that's very kind of you. But yeah, are your channel, as I've already mentioned to them, but I've mentioned to you. Do I say to you or to? I don't know. I haven't done this
I think
before.
you
I don't
plural.
know. We don't have this problem.
Yeah, we don't.
Okay, anyway, as I've said, let's omit pronouns. You definitely, you and Damon and Joe were like the 2 channels that I got like super obsessed with and like consumed all of the content of in about a week or 2, probably 2 weeks. So
Well, thank you.
So then I started saying whatnot all the time. I never said the word whatnot, but the 2 of you say whatnot quite a lot, and so now I say whatnot, and it was pointed out to me that because I think a student was like, what is this word whatnot? You say it all the time. And I was like, oh, I think I know where this has come from. So yes. So thank you very much for making such inspiring content.
Oh, thank you. We can thank you
I
as well
sing
because
things when I sing things when I'm uncomfortable. So I do genuinely mean that, but I'm just like, ooh, genuine emotion. So I sing it and like dance to be like, they'll be distracted. So yes. How's your
It is all
language
good.
learning going? What's your update?
Oh my
Oh,
gosh,
yes,
she
we
just
have to do
prompted
updates.
us to give our language learning update. Oh my
Wow,
goodness.
what a good guess.
Am I taking over? Do I need to like chill
Oh my
out?
gosh, this is fantastic. You're keeping us on track. Are
Yeah,
you kidding
here we
me?
go.
You know the podcast better than both of us because every week we need to like sit down and be like, okay, so what's the format again? We gotta say like 3, 2, 1, hello. Who says their name first? Honestly.
No, Matt literally asks me that every time. He's
Every
like,
time.
Who says their name first? I'm like, you do.
Not everyone has as good a memory as you, Abigail. So
Honestly, seriously, really think about your privilege, okay?
Okay. Would you like to share first then?
Yeah, sure, because it's not that long of a list. I have been
how's Hungarian?
practicing my French. Oh my gosh, my Hungarian.
Sorry,
Don't.
sorry, I'm sorry.
I have a video open on my computer which is like how to think about verbs in Hungarian. And
Oh,
it's like
cool.
a 13-minute long video explaining Hungarian verbs, and I'm pretty excited to watch that.
Oh,
As excited as I am to learn Hungarian. Haven't done Hungarian.
London is very noisy and it's very hot. It's 9:30. It's not meant to be this hot. Anyway, sorry. So you're
No, it's all good.
French is.
French is
Good.
going quite well. I recorded a diary yesterday after taking an exam at school, and that was my last exam I'll ever be taking in high school.
Yay! Congratulations.
Thank you. And so that's pretty exciting. French is good.
Yeah.
I like French. And then I'm doing German all the time, but that's not updating. That's not new.
Hey,
All
no,
right.
still take the credit for it. It's still good.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I do.
Okay.
All right. Well, by the time this video goes up, I'll have Yeah, well, I've already posted my summer goals update, so
Yes, true.
really, if people just want to see how I'm doing, you can slide on over to that other video. But I've been doing a lot of German, and
Your
that's
German's
about
gotten
it.
awesome.
I've kind of been slacking everywhere else, but a lot of German, so there's that.
Should we
Listen.
mention the system that we came up?
Oh, we came up with a system. Did we mention that in the last podcast?
I don't know. I feel like
I
we
don't
may
think
have.
you did.
No,
I'm
there's a
your number one
podcast that's
fan.
not up yet, though.
Okay.
We can
Whoa,
just
guys.
run through it quickly.
So maybe, but we
We have like a day 1, day 2, day 3 system where
Ah.
where's my journal? It's right here. Where day 1 is we do French and German together. Day 2 is German and Spanish, and day 3 is
yeah.
French and Spanish.
That's
So, like,
cool.
It's
That's
nice, like,
really
because if we
cool.
miss a day, then you just go to the next day, and like that, of course,
Yeah.
it's not rigid. You can just go to the next day and do it, or do a different one if you're feeling it. But yeah, it's really cool.
That's
we,
really cool.
Yeah, so we
She
started
came up
doing
with the
Spanish
idea.
again, so there's that too. I guess that's an update.
Yeah.
Spanish is
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
Back and better than ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We took a little
If
money
you want-
hiatus.
If you want
But-
a wonderful teacher, I can never recommend my italki teacher enough because she is just like the most glorious woman ever.
I know,
Yes,
she
please.
seems so
She
great.
seems
We're just
awesome.
learning like Latin American Spanish instead, so we've been
Oh
like
yeah, damn it, that's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
Never mind. Yeah, I
I'm-
mean, I
I'm
guess
less
that makes sense.
partial
You are on
nowadays,
that
though.
side.
Yeah. That's why we're figuring, like, because normally we do everything European, and then we're like, well, we have a chance to learn something that's spoken here, so I guess let's just do it.
yeah.
No,
Yeah,
Yeah.
fair enough.
But how was your? Were you done?
I'm
sorry.
done.
I'm sorry. How are your languages? How are they going?
Yeah, they're going quite well. Again, a bit like you, like I've been doing some French, but that's not really an update. I really
Yeah.
love teaching it. It's really fun to teach French. I really
That's
like
how
it.
I feel with German. It's just so great.
Yeah, it's really fun teaching French for beginners, but then English
Mm-hmm.
to, like, because I find I get quite stressed out if I'm teaching French to someone who's really advanced, because
I know.
especially
Me too.
because I normally teach to people whose first language is Spanish, and I'm like, but you already speak it, so what can I do? And so I usually stress out a bit about that, but otherwise, yeah, I really, it's just like, I don't know, I'll obviously be talking about it more in this podcast about my relationship with French, but like. It's just such a glorious language, and I just adore it. And Spanish is still going. I'm enjoying Spanish. Russian, I finally understood the accusative
I'm very
case
proud
the
of
other
you.
days.
I'm
That
very
was
proud
a
of you.
nice experience. Thank you.
It's
Thank
quite
you.
a nice gap
I'm trying to
cross once you understand one case, because you're like,
Yeah.
oh, this is
Yeah.
like, I
Yeah.
see.
Yeah. I don't know what it was that was not clicking
Yeah.
in my brain. And you know how you have that moment when you're like, oh.
Like the aha moment.
Why
Yeah.
did no one put it like
Uh-huh.
that? Yeah, I think I don't know how you feel about Norwegian, but my Swedish is always a thing that takes the back seat, and I'm considering, like, and then it just makes me feel really
Yep.
guilty, so I'm considering in my brain, like, officially thinking that I'm stopping studying Swedish because I just feel
Really?
guilty about it. What's your
Yeah,
opinion?
I have it literally in my journal for like the past 3 weeks. Every day has had do some Norwegian, and then it stays
Yeah,
empty and
yeah.
uncrossed the entire day.
Like, I have my Swedish book out all the time
Yep.
because I'm like, I will just do it. It will just happen.
And then
But
I
don't
never
know.
get to it. But at the same time, it's one of the easiest languages for me. I don't know if you... Yeah,
That's
Swedish.
the thing. That's the thing. So I don't know whether it's, I don't know, because obviously I hate Russian because it's difficult, but I also
Yeah.
love it. And so I don't know whether the fact that Swedish is a lot easier, I don't know whether it's
Like,
you
you kind of
not-
like
it's less
prioritize it
motivating.
less because it's
But I
easy.
guess it's
Yeah.
yeah. It's just a bit like, if I wanted to learn Swedish, I could, and that's like a really whereas I'm like, no, I've got to use these opportunities. I'm going to learn, you
Yeah.
know, whatever. So I don't know whether that's a weird.
I mean, also, if you
I don't
put it
know.
on the back burner now, you've got your entire life to learn it. It's one of those things. Like, if you need to put it to the
Yeah.
side now...
But then you could say that with
I know.
everything, though.
Mhm.
You know, like I'm like, I want to learn how to sing or how to tap
Yeah.
dance, but that could go on the
Exactly.
back burner. I have my whole
Mhm.
life. I don't know. So, but yeah. So I don't know. I don't know whether to how, but. Anyway, so that's how my language is again. Thank you very much
No
for
problem.
asking. I'm like officially on the podcast.
We're very happy to have you here. This is our first guest
You
on
won't
the
be
podcast.
officially on the podcast till we start yelling at each other midway through the
True.
podcast.
True. That's the initiation.
I'm excited. I have popcorn somewhere. I promise.
All right.
Okay. So how would you like to
Yeah,
start
I was
the
just gonna
discussion?
say.
Or the
Would you
introduce
like
the
to
topic.
tell them what the topic is?
Yeah, I mean, that's...
Or would you like that to be my job again?
You could do it.
All right, so Matt's like, I've never done that before. So today, on episode 18,
Nice.
we're going to be talking about learning a language with mental illness.
And the role that plays, how it impacts your learning, how a language impacts your health, and really just go from there. Have this like broad umbrella, and then just be the raindrops underneath the umbrella.
Wow, that was
That's pretty
deep.
exciting.
Yeah.
It was beautiful.
Thank you.
I like it. Metaphors are important. They're important
I
parts of
agree.
language.
I agree. All right.
And also, like, mental illness is best explained through metaphors
Yeah.
often for people who haven't experienced it, so ties it all in nicely, don't worry. I don't know what that was. I was possessed. Okay. Which is maybe not a sensitive thing to say on the podcast. About mental health. Great. Okay, let's keep going.
All right. So,
So-
basically, we have very little notes here, but that's all
Yeah.
right. We're just gonna have fun today. Where do you want to begin with this topic? Do you want to
Well, I
begin
guess
like?
we can give a brief overview of where we stand with things. I don't think we're going to go
Anecdotes.
super in depth as to like what our mental health is exactly. Be like, well, let me tell you, these are all the medications I take. This is everything I've been diagnosed with. Here's why
Yeah.
I have it. Those like things, but just to give you an overview as to where we're coming from. I guess that works.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good. I know I'm a person who I have gotten through a lot of what I've, been dealing with over the past few years, and like, which is great. I feel good about that, but it's not like nowadays, thank you. It's not like nowadays I still am not inflicted with my mental health, and it's not like it doesn't play a role in my everyday. I feel like nowadays I'm in a big slump with language learning, and it might not be because of my mental health, it might be because of it, but more so in my past, language learning has definitely been a way for me to get past what's blocking me mentally, and of course so was therapy, so was medication, and like all this stuff, but like language learning, it gave me a place to go, it gave me a hobby to focus on, but I think how did my mental illness play more so a role in how I learned languages and how I went about it, because I didn't have motivation every day. Some days I just wouldn't want to learn a thing, or I couldn't, and so yeah, that's really just I think where we can go about talking with this. I don't know where you guys want to go specifically, but yeah.
Yeah, I think I agree with the same things, and
Yeah.
mainly, like, I think places it hinders me, as well as just, like, lacking motivation. I think my anxiety definitely plays a role in doing things
Oh my
like
gosh.
booking an italki lesson,
Oh.
and, like, doing things like that. Like, even if I go through with it, like, I think I feel a lot more stress leading up to a lesson than possibly other language learners would.
Yeah, and I know something that's different between both of us and you is you are an extrovert, I've heard you say. Yep, and I feel like I'm becoming more extroverted as I like kind of am breaking out of my shell, but I am definitely introverted. I'm INFJ.
Okay.
Are you actually?
I'm INFJ, yeah.
We're the same thing.
Oh, that's weird.
Wait, I never knew
Yeah.
that.
About
Wait,
the
that's
Myers. But
really
this is the thing.
weird.
This is how I don't know how I feel about the Myers. This is a separate thing, but I don't know how I feel about the Myers-Briggs
Yeah.
test, because I prefer the Enneagram.
My
I've become,
my
like,
italki
kind of-
student
got
taught
kind
me
of-
about the Enneagram the other day, and we decided which type I am. Which are you?
I'm type
I'm a
2,
7.
like, through and through.
Is what we came
I
up
don't-
with.
I don't know
I
that
haven't
test.
taken the test, but
I don't-
what we decided was that I was a 7, which is like the planner. So
Which makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know. It would be worth having a little look more into it, because it's really interesting. Because it was more just like, it was like, I don't know, how I imagine some people, the relationship they have with horoscopes, where they're like,
Yeah.
oh wow, how can this thing that is not personal to me feel so
Yeah.
personal to me? For me, it was like, oh my goodness, like here are all of my flaws written on the internet.
Yeah.
I feel naked. So that's really interesting. Anyway,
No,
okay.
yeah.
And so are you? So when you're saying something that we have differently, is in like the two of you have differently?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Is that
Because
you are? Okay.
I'm sure you, when it comes to speaking a language like in public or booking a lesson on italki, you're not as nervous. You don't have like this
Yeah.
this internal like, do I type in my password and confirm this lesson, or like, do I just let it sit here for a few days
yeah.
and like think it over and like build up the courage to do it? Because I had a French lesson I was booking recently, and I just let it sit there for like 2 weeks before I was like, I just gotta book it. This guy seems nice. Why am I not just going with it? Yeah.
Oh, have a like. I'll do
Oh, thank you. I'll do German with you.
Okay, my German is not there yet.
That's all
but
good,
we'll
man.
find
That's
it.
all good.
At the moment it's just like ich habe eine Klebstift.
Listen, that's good. I have not heard that word in ages, so that's totally fine.
Yeah, so yeah, that's not really. That's not something I've ever experienced, and so because I don't know whether it's years of theatre.
Yeah,
Well,
could be
okay,
it.
I used to be a shy person. Then I got into theatre. Then I then started pretending to be a confident person. And then like when you move schools and you reintroduce yourself to people don't know,
Yeah.
like people don't remember that transition from not being a confident person to being a confident
I can
person.
do that
And so then when
in
people just start
college.
to when people start just presuming that you're a confident person, I don't know, it's a weird, I don't know, it's a weird thing where people will be like, but you're so happy to talk to anyone. And I'm like, I mean, like, yeah, but then I sort of, when I'm talking to new people, I go like almost way too extroverted, and because I'm, and then I'm like, I have this thing where I'm like, I don't want to seem really aggressive, I don't know.
No,
This
yeah,
is-
yeah. I totally get what you mean.
Yeah, I
Self-analysis.
think also
But,
though for me,
it's
like I did theater too, but I think part of where my like mental health comes in is that I do have like a general anxiety disorder. And so I think, like, I mean, I do, like, overanalyze every single thing that people are, like, saying, and, like, when I'm having a conversation with someone. So I think that definitely plays in, because then, like, if I'm having, like, an italki conversation and there's a lull or something, I'm like...
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I do also overanalyze everything, but I don't have general anxiety. So it's like a completely different thing. It's like, you know, in the same way when people are like, I get sad too sometimes.
Yeah, it's like,
okay.
yeah, you know, that's cool, nice, good talk. We'll see you later.
I'm sorry
Yeah.
you do. Because so like, but it took me so my experience with mental health was to I had for the first time ever experienced some depression in October, and then like, you know, a couple of, but now it's all good. But in that time it took me ages to work out what was going on, because I was like, but I'm like someone that loves talking to people, and I'm a motivated person,
Just go
and
outside.
I have so
Why are you, just go for a walk.
yeah, and like, and because I'm like, but I'm a worker, also because I'm such a workaholic, and which my favorite joke is, that's something I need to work on. I hate myself too, don't worry. So what was I saying? I've just forgotten my train of thoughts. But yeah, so with language learning, it's never an issue to put myself in front of people. However, I like, because I'm a type 2 on the Enneagram, I crave too much validation.
Oh my gosh,
from
I
other
relate.
people. So I cried in a Russian lesson because I'm dyslexic, and so I couldn't read the Cyrillic alphabet fast enough, and she kept getting cross with me, and she kept telling me I wasn't. She was like, "You're not using the genitive case," and I was like, "I'm sorry, I don't know what any cases are," and so then like I had to then, but now I have a lovely Russian teacher, so I like, you know, I don't know. Even though I'm not an introverted person, I still, it doesn't mean that I don't like experience, I don't know, I still,
you still have those moments of like,
that makes sense.
oh wow, I feel like so vulnerable at this moment because of I'm just kind of scared, like, and that happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely think a lot of what we're going to be talking about doesn't just apply to people with mental illnesses or mental disorders. I think normal everyday people, I think everybody's got a little something, even if it's undiagnosed or whatnot. People who are definitely diagnosed with something might relate a bit more, but I think everybody will have something to take away from this.
I hope so. Or even just like, I don't know, I try and, there's a really good, I'm really enjoying it, there's a series that BBC Three are doing, where they're, which is about things that you shouldn't say to different types of people, so whether it's people who have schizophrenia or people who have red hair, and like, and it's, I really like it because, you know, even though very, very few of the experiences I can identify with, it's still like, oh, that was something that I shouldn't have said to that
like
person.
That. I think I
so
need
like,
that.
even if it's,
is there a thing like
it's really
things
good.
not to say to
I'll send it
polyglots?
Actually, I believe
we
Ophelia
should
and
suggest-
I have both made that
you
video
both
before.
just made
So.
videos of.
Oh, also, I'm so sorry. I discovered your video of that, and I was like, oh my goodness. This is almost the same video. Oh no.
That's awesome.
And I just felt so like, oh my god. Like, so I was stressing about that.
Oh,
so I'm
no.
really,
No,
really,
it's
really
okay.
sorry.
I saw your message. You're like, I think I just stole your video, and I was like,
Sorry.
That's awesome.
So yes,
Oh my gosh.
So like, okay, this is So I don't know whether either of you listen to the Banging Book Club podcast.
No, that's with Lucy Moon.
And,
Is she on that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hannah.
Yeah, and Lena Norms. And Lena Norms always comes in with like her, well, I have these questions for you. And so when I made my notes earlier today, I just divided it into like 3. No, I'm just like quite obsessive. So I divided it into languages as a coping strategy, languages as management, and languages as and the language community. And I divided it into those different categories. I don't know if that is a helpful.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I think
there's
those
a lot.
categories, and also I'd like to add the the things you have to do to be able to learn languages when your mental illnesses add up. Because that didn't make sense. I don't
When
act up. There you go. There's the English word. But yeah, because I definitely find that things like when my depression adds up, it can be so much harder to like have
Get
the
yourself to
energy
sit
to
down.
study a language, especially if you've got a lot going on. Like we're also posting 3 videos a week, and there's a lot of
I have to
languages
take-
I want to learn, so I've got to
you're
decide
at
which one
college,
to learn and like that kind of thing.
Yeah, and we were just talking about before.
Yeah.
I had to take a mental health day. You were like, Matt, just don't get a video for Monday. You cannot do that right now.
Yeah,
and I was
yeah.
like, you know what? You're right. As much as I don't want to take a day off, because I'm like, I'm very proud of making content, and I'm also very proud of language learning is a thing I do. But just recently, it gets difficult, and I mean, you have things that act up, and I don't think I've realized just how busy I've been lately, and like the amount of stress that's just been involved in graduating high school. And you were saying before, you brought up like how well do you handle change, and I was like that like stopped me in my path. I was like, oh, change. I don't know. There's a phone ringing. That's classic Polyglot Progress podcast.
Also, I don't know how obviously I have no idea how either of you experience your mental health, and I'm also sorry that because you are both so. I mean, not that and no one should experience it, but I'm sorry that you also experience it.
We're sorry too, and just
but
like
for me-
it's things that people need to experience it because people are so wonderful, and like it's just such a bad thing.
I don't know. And it's interesting because people often try and spin it into being like, well, here's a silver lining.
Yeah, honestly, it's like
There's no silver lining.
it takes away from so much.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
But I don't know how either of you experience things, but for me, in many ways, because even though depression is obviously most famous for being associated with mood, it's actually the mood that's like on the bottom of the list of things that I experience. The main one that I can't concentrate, and I also lose my sight properly. I can't see straight when I'm really depressed because my brain is just not communicating with itself well. Like I don't wear glasses or anything, and my healthy brain is fine. So reading becomes super hard.
That's really interesting.
And so because I do a history degree, and unlike you, we just do one thing. So that is just all reading, and so I was really stressed because I couldn't read properly, and it was really really stressful, and it was stuff I loved, and so kind of talking about what you were saying about a coping strategy, I'd be like, okay, I'm just going to do one French grammar exercise, and then that will reset my brain, won't it? But yeah, so I think also mental health is not just it is also obviously motivation and also energy and or self-doubt, so many things, but also it can also be, well, for me I have lots of physical things, also I just fall asleep all the time, my brain, or I don't sleep at all, weird things happen, so that's also something
that's really
as well.
interesting. I never think about that because I do have this thing where my brain kind of just, I always wonder oh, do I have some sort of attention thing going on, because I find that I have such a hard problem a lot of the times just staying focused on a very simple task for quite a while, and I find it takes a lot of...
There could be other stuff, though. I know I actually had to get tested for ADD because they thought that I had, an attention problem in high school, and it was just, my depression and anxiety. My brain couldn't focus, so it was as if I had, an attention deficit, but it was just other things causing that. So that's definitely a thing that I have to, when it's really bad, I can't focus. Even if I then find the motivation and energy to go learn a language, I'm my brain's not
what's happening. Well, in the same way, I went along to an eye test and they were like, there's nothing wrong with your eyes.
That's so interesting.
And I was like, oh my god. And so I don't know whether, so I was on the tube, subway, underground, metro, whatever word is appropriate in your country, and they have adverts on the other side of the tube, and so they are made so that people can read them really easily. And I remember there was this one day where I couldn't see it. I couldn't work out what it was saying, and it was so confusing. So yeah, so let alone like trying to sit down and read the Cyrillic alphabet, like that's just, that's not going to be my friend. So where would you like to start, Abigail? I was thinking about what you just said about what was about how? Wait, hang on. The thing that you said, the thing I'd like to add, and I feel like that makes the most sense to start there.
Okay, yeah. So just like how you kind of handle learning languages when you are having like one of those days where you like can't focus or don't have the energy or that kind of thing. And like, so I guess one thing like you were saying, like the easy things that you should be able to do, like read a thing. Like I know I have like I'll be reading a book or doing a homework thing or learning a language, whatever it is, but I like read the sentence like 17 times and it like just never like I feel like I've never even read it before, like it just like does not go into my brain. You're
looking at it but you're not reading it,
and that's like I feel like that's why, even though I feel like you can't fully learn a language on something like Duolingo, like that's why I won't knock it, because like on days when I feel really bad, having something like Duolingo that's just like a nice quick game, like then I can like usually absorb like at least a few words. I feel like I've done something. Sometimes it's enough to like
it gives you that,
give
like,
me enough boost to go do something more intense. But sometimes when I can't like sit down and work through a textbook or something, or have an italki lesson or something that requires a ton of brain power, at least getting something done with a language is better than nothing. So like something like that is like a lot better than. So
anything's better than nothing.
Yeah,
honestly. But I think definitely when you're having a mental health sort of flare and you're like, so for me it'll be just, you know, not having the motivation to honestly get up out of bed and do anything with my life. Like I don't want to go make breakfast, I don't want to go out, do anything. And so I mean, sitting down and making myself like learn something can be like a big task to accomplish and kind of like a mountain to climb. Sure. But I mean, I kind of think about it like I correlate a lot of the times, like, you know, progress with positivity. And so I'll see, like, if I'm making progress in something, so, like, getting through a book, that should be, like, my positivity should be going up because I'm doing that. And a lot of the times it's not the case, and, like, the more positive I am, the more I'll get through something. And, like, completing goals is something that, like, makes me feel better about myself. So, I mean, that's where, like, that's when I like to, you know, I do these, like, checklists where I'll cross off, like, I'll write out all the chapters in a book, and then, like, I'll check it off as I go, so I can see, like, oh, I'm actually getting through this. And this is something that I've discovered recently, like, oh, it makes me feel good. I see myself getting through this book. But as to, like, getting out of bed to do it, that's where I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to sit down and put all my brain power into learning Norwegian right now. It's like...
Yeah, and we've made a podcast on motivation, but I think it's definitely different
totally
when it's
different,
like, just not having motivation versus, like, being, like, not having motivation to, like, get dressed or something as well, like...
No, definitely. And I think it's interesting that you say that about sort of equating positivity with productivity, and that was something that I really found difficult, because I was like, because as I've mentioned to the two of you, like, I am such a workaholic and I'm obsessed with being productive, and
I think we know about that.
So am I, and I think that is too. So, you've recently been trying to take a step back from that. I definitely have, like, and I have to be productive.
And so I think when it comes to mental health days, that's when you really need to just be like, okay, this is not gonna happen. And I don't know, I'm also trying to get better at that. I'm also trying to get better at being like, okay, I can't do this, and that's okay. And so that's something I'm working on doing at the moment.
You just said something there, which is, I can't do this, and that's okay. This is something I think I've said recently, which is like, if you cannot do something, that's totally fine. And like almost what I was saying before with like, if it needs to go on the back burner, you need to put it to the side. It is okay. It is not, you don't need to know the entire language by today. You have time to learn it, and it is a gradual process. And so I think a lot of like when you're in a state of, you know, poor mental health, a lot of what you need is rest. Needing to put something to the side and just honestly sleep, it's okay. It's not the worst thing that could happen.
And allowing you to be like, oh, okay, today I'm gonna make myself not be productive. So I've decided tomorrow I'm not going to be productive because I'm kind of a bit burnt out. Because I finished my exams and that was quite intense, and before then was a whole bunch of stuff. So and then I was like, I'm gonna make daily videos, and like I've also pre-filmed most of them, so I'm basically done now. I only have 2 videos left, and so but also because I was like, I want to allow for, I don't know, if like, you know, so nothing at any point was edited, uploaded, filmed on the same day at all.
Wow.
Like as it was going to be, as it was going to go live. So because I was just like, I know that I will need to, you know, there will be days where I don't want to film, because I think that's also the thing when you're making language diaries, when you don't want to get dressed, when you don't want to have a shower, when you don't want to, you know, feel confident in your appearance, because for me as well, when I feel rubbish in my brain, I then feel like, you know, I then project that onto how I feel about, you know, what I'm doing, but also how I look and everything. And then if you have to sit down and edit your face for a long time, then it's really,
I totally agree.
It's difficult.
I feel like it takes a lot more energy than I think people think to like film a video. Sure. Like there's the setting up process, which I always put off because I own like softboxes and stuff that I have to set up, and it's not a ton of work, but it feels like so much work. But then
I don't do that.
But then also just like sitting in front of a camera and talking, it's like having a conversation with someone, but at the same time there's like a pressure on you because it is like you film it and then you edit it and then you post it, and it can never like change or be like mildly forgotten by someone because it's just always there. So like there's a lot more pressure to get out what you're trying to say, I guess.
Yeah. That's why I'm always like normally at least a week ahead with my videos, so that I can rewatch it. I can send it to other people and be like, "Is this okay?" I need to chill out on my perfectionism.
I think this is something I can honestly pat myself on the back for, because like I have that whole like mindset of, you know, I don't need to be perfect has gotten at something I have struggled with so much. Oh my gosh, you know this, just because like. Anytime I put out something, I'm like, I don't think this is good. I don't think people are gonna enjoy this. I don't like it. Yeah. My German's not good. My French isn't good. I mean, even I was complaining to you about how like I don't like my French accent in this video.
But I'm sure your French. But then I watched your French, because I found like your French diary from the Add One challenge. Your French accent's lovely from the first video.
Thank you.
Don't worry about it. Like, that's the first video. Don't worry.
And see, this is how I feel about Abigail's, but she does not enjoy her French accent and thinks it's very bad.
But yeah, also yours. No, it's like, no, it's okay.
Yeah, so I guess that's also like a thing. Like even as well as language learning, like making language videos. Like I don't even think of talking about that in this podcast, but it's also like. That's a thing too. Like I genuinely haven't spoken French on the channel, and I've spoken French for 6 years. I don't teach on italki because I don't like my accent that much. Like, so.
Right? It breaks your heart, doesn't it? It's really sad.
I just want to give you a hug. But your French accent from like the time, but like. I'm so sorry.
We're here for you.
Thank you.
We'll get you through this together.
Yeah. And like, you know, the job I do apart from italki is I am a lambda teacher, which is when you help it's the drama qualification so that you can take and so I spend a lot of time working on accents with actors as well, which is fun, and I like that job. And so then I try and bring it as much, so like you know, people get really afraid of accents, but accents are your friends, I promise. If I can help in any way, I'm really sorry. Like, I don't know, I'm like, oh no, I'm sorry you feel this way, I'm sorry.
Oh wait, she's got a video coming out on how to improve your French accent.
There you go, I'll watch that.
There you go, I'm very excited for that one.
It's I don't know how informative, it's not going to be that informative, I'm really sorry.
Don't be.
But yeah, I feel like we've spoken mostly about like making videos, but I guess like for both of us, you are
honestly,
for all of us, like learning languages and creating content on languages are really linked.
Yeah, they are.
Oh, that's really interesting. That reminds me. When I was getting over the first time of being depressed in January, I started writing my blog, and that was where everything sort of started. And I wrote on it like every single day, and that sort of gave me a place to have a different. Okay, this is going to sound a bit mad, but there we go. I don't know whether either of you find this, but I feel like I have a French brain that I can like escape into. My English brain is the brain that gets depressed and the brain that gets stressed and is the brain that has to deal with all of the problems.
We've talked about this before. Oh my gosh, because it was brought up in Babel No More, I think.
Yeah, we were reading Babel No More, and he was actually talking about how there was this.
There were people who were insane.
Of these people that were in like insane asylums in like the 1700s or whatever, and they were. I don't know if they were necessarily polyglots, but they were like at least trilingual.
They were multilingual, yeah.
And they would speak to them in their second language because it was like in like Italian they were crazy, but in Spanish they were sane. And so it was like one of those things where they switched languages, and we actually tested it recently. We've tested this recently,
and it like weirdly kind of works.
Yeah, like so we've started like if Matt's like feeling anxious or like having a panic attack or whatever, he'll just like start speaking like German or French to me, and I just respond, and we like continue doing that, and
it's really cool.
It seems to have been working a little, so there actually may be something behind there.
It's really like
that makes me want to cry. That's fantastic.
Yeah, it was really cool.
I'm so pleased that you have each other for that kind of thing. Yeah, so that's
it's really interesting because at first I think we both got to that passage and we were like, this is. Did you read that too? I'm like, did I read that right? Do you want to give that's pretty cool. And so definitely, I mean, if you're having a bad day mentally, give speaking another language a shot with like a very close friend or somebody, or like even
I haven't tried it yet, but I think it's an interesting thing to try out. And I think for me too, I think this kind of leads into the more using it as a coping mechanism thing, but I think as well as sometimes having issues with like getting myself to do it, at the same time, even if I'm having one of those days where I kind of do nothing, I enjoy language learning in a way. Like, it's one of those things where people are like, wait a minute, you enjoy studying? And I'm like, yes, I do. But it's like one of those things where it's like a fun thing for me if I'm learning a language. Like, if I'm studying things for school, that's a bit different.
Yeah.
But like, if I'm learning Japanese for fun or whatever, like, I enjoy it, so I find that that's actually a good way to keep my mind off of things, and it helps that it is like studying is seen to be productive in the world, so then I can feel like I got up and did something, even if it's like laying in bed and doing memorize or something. Like, I can feel like I'm doing something.
Yeah, you can take something
and
away
like
from
my
it.
brain is doing something. So
I totally agree. Yeah.
Yeah. That's I think so. And I think I don't know, I just that was also and like I don't know, the idea that you have different structures to think with in different languages as well, and how that changes your relationship with
Sapir-Whorf
your
hypothesis.
Surrounding environment.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, that's the Sapir-Whorf hypothesis. I don't know if I'm pronouncing the name right. Sapir. It's the idea that the language you speak or think in changes the way your brain works and whatnot. That's what Arrival was based off of, the movie Arrival.
Yeah, and also kind of 1984 as well. So it's and so for example, I find this I've probably talked about this 1,000,001 times, and the fact that in French you literally it's normally you have things, not that you are things. In English you normally are things. So in French you have fear, in French you have age, in French you have shame, you have rightness or you have wrongness. It's not that you are these things. And I think, I don't know, there's something about that I find really, and like it's obviously it's obviously me intellectualizing the fact that whatever happens when I speak French makes me feel good. It releases some kind of endorphin. It's really, I remember, but my intellectualization of that is, it must be because there are different structures.
I remember hearing you talk about that, and I thought it was really cool because it's like, she's really right. We are right in English, but we have right.
She is really right.
Exactly. No, but in French you have really right.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you be really right? Can you be more or less right? No, that's a different thing. Yeah.
No, I think that's really cool. It's just, I also love looking at languages in that sense, where like, how would they perceive how I'm feeling right now? Do I, what is it? Like in German, it's more similar than it is in French, because in French it's I have pain to my head, but in German it's I have head pain. And then it's more similar to English, where I have a headache. Ich habe Kopfschmerzen.
Yeah.
Whereas it's just really cool to see how other languages view it. But I mean, I know that's not what we're talking about, but I still really like that.
Yeah. No, definitely. And I think, no, it is what we're talking about, because it's about, how we use languages in relation to our mental health. So I just had a thought that was gone. Oh yeah. So, and also the fact that when words don't exist in other languages, so finding a word for mind is quite I find, like in French anyway, I find that quite difficult. So you have words like esprit, which is like more like spirit,
yeah.
which isn't what I mean. Or you have cerveau, which is your literal brain, or you have tête, but people don't use head in that way, and just and so things like that where it's like, oh well, maybe I don't know, especially because it's all in your head. Being able to be like, oh well, my mind doesn't exist really according to French, so it's
really cool.
fine. I don't know.
Yeah, because like, how would you express a thought in French? It's all in your head. It's all made up. It's all not real. Yeah.
Ça n'existe pas, probably. With a cigarette.
Oh my god, your accents are so great. I can't.
It's because I spend too much time, in pretending to be French. Like literally, my French accent has come from speaking in English with with French accent, because that was what it was, and then just applying that to French because that's what you can do.
It's so good.
Yeah, I want to try that because I was in a play and I had to learn a British accent. And
are you gonna do it for us?
We literally went through the IPA and rewrote the script in
so cool.
IPA for the.
Wait,
so
really?
New. That's so
awesome.
New.
Yeah, because we had to
whole
learn the
script? Oh my
accent,
gosh.
and I also had to do monologues
That's
and stuff in class.
I love that you did
So
that.
I know that I should take that approach for French. I just haven't gotten around to it yet.
That's so cool.
It also seems like a very extra approach to take, whereas currently I've just been improving my accent while speaking French and stuff, as opposed to writing something down and then writing out the literal IPA and being like, this is how I must sound.
But this is also, that kind of ties into it, and because speaking a language is sort of playing a character.
I totally agree.
And so I don't normally go, and I don't I never do this motion, but it's because all of the exposure I've had to French, especially at university. I don't know why I must translate things to American
No, I feel like
words.
I do that too. Whenever I have students on italki, I'm at university because I feel if I say I'm at college, they're gonna be like,
what do you
what's
mean?
college?
Yeah. No, no, exactly. And whereas I always say high school instead of sixth form, and because I would normally say college for high school because I don't even know when high school is. Anyway, what were we just talking about? So I don't usually but so at uni, I can own it. I've suddenly met there are so many French people at my uni. There are so many French people in London. It's the 6th biggest French city.
Oh my gosh,
which
really?
is insane. It's you look at the list and it's whatever, Lyon and London, and you're like, what happened? I'm so used to they'll have literally they'll be talking and they'll be like, oh my god, tell me about that thing, and it just really there was this one girl who said that to me. She was like, so tell me about your life, love, tell me what's going on. And it was just so there are those things when you this glass of wine that they have the thing through here and the cigarette and it's so oh don't worry, and then we have to have a little bit of a because I don't want the smoke to be going everywhere. And so yeah, I don't know, so I do this weird motion with my shoulders where everything stays like this when I speak French, and so I feel immediately I feel much more confident. I feel
that's so cool.
Not sexy but borderline someone who might be one. And so it's I don't know, it's definitely playing a character, and so when that comes to mental health, that can be a good and a bad thing depending on what your situation is. But for me, being able to escape my depressed self is really helpful, and being able to escape into a character feels like the most natural way, and the most extreme way to do that for me is to speak another language.
I have that. Especially with German. You see how happy I look when I speak German. With Esperanto, I talk out of the side of my mouth because I'm smiling the whole time. I'm mi parolas Esperanton, and I'm I'm speaking out of the side of my mouth because I'm just in a smile. And then with German, I'm just people are German sounds angry, and I'm what are you talking about? I'm having a blast over here. And then I don't even know what I'm with Norwegian. I probably just sound Like I'm singing probably because it goes up and down, but I love that.
Yeah, I think I have less experience with the using it as like a coping mechanism in the sense of like escaping to it, but I think I definitely need to try it out more because I think
it would help.
I think from what I've seen it seems useful, and I think I haven't gotten to explore that enough. I think for me as a coping mechanism, it's more of like a distraction in the sense that it's a thing I enjoy, so it makes me happy, so it like even if I'm having like a bad mental health day, it's something I enjoy and it feels productive, so like I can kind of feel better about my day. It doesn't feel like, man, I felt bad all day. It's like, I didn't feel too great, but I did learn 4 new German words or whatever. And, like, now I can have a new conversation in this language, and that's cool. And I think also it's, like...
It's the small victories.
It's also, like, a confidence booster in the sense that, like, I don't walk around and be like, did you guys know I can speak 25 languages? But, like, I think it's nice...
Really? I've been telling everyone 8.
But, like, it's nice to be able to walk around and just, like... Or, like... It's nice to be able to, like, watch old Polyglot progress videos or something. Just, like, the old German diaries, like, be able to watch, like, I didn't know how to say anything in the beginning, and then, like, I learned things, and now I know what I'm doing. So, like, it's a confidence booster in that, and, like, if you feel horrible, you can be like, wait a minute, I taught myself this language, and now I can speak it, and I used to not be able to. So this thing that I can't do now, I can possibly do at some other point.
Right.
I was giving like a presentation on Polyglot progress to like a class of mine because it was like I started it as a school project for me.
Yeah, we had the idea to start it, and then Matt was like, I need a school project. You want to start that Polyglot channel we were talking about?
So American. We don't have school projects like that.
I know, it was like it needed to like give back to the community and be like some type of creative thing, and so we were like, let's make some informative content on language learning.
Because they want you to be everything in America.
I know.
It's really impressive.
It's kind of
it's impressive, but that's why we all have a mental illness.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm like, it's part of why we're all a little messed up.
What's my excuse? God damn it! Don't steal my excuse.
It's like we're not as focused over here.
No one expects anything of me, and I get
we got a little of everything going on.
Okay.
But like, so I put it together this video, which I actually uploaded as unlisted, and it's just called Practice Makes Progress, and it's so I think it starts off with like Abigail's Bulgarian diaries, and it shows her first ad 1, and her second, and her third, and her fourth, and it's just so really cool, so very cool. Can't speak English. To see her, like, I have no idea what she's saying, but to see her speaking like the 3 words to speaking like 7. To having a conversation with the camera and to speaking with a native speaker, it's like, I hear you getting faster, your accent got better, it's like, I don't know what you're saying, but it sounds awesome, and like, I see the progress here, and it's just like, that's where I'm like, having these diaries, if I'm like, not feeling well, I go and I look at how little French I knew here and how much I know now, and I'm like, damn, I did something with my life, like, I achieved something, and so, it's really good, like, especially on your days when you're really feeling down, you can just go and see, okay, I have this, I did, let's do more of that. And like, I think that's something that works for somebody like me who likes to see progress, but if you want to experience it, definitely having a text conversation, which might be just as anxiety inducing as speaking to somebody, it depends on how you are. There are apps like HelloTalk, Twitter, honestly, doing anything like that just to produce something, because a lot of times it just gets your mind off of what's actually happening.
Yeah, and I think just in general too, like I said, like, sorry, I've definitely got like anxiety in social situations, and I definitely like end up comparing myself to people too. So if people are like talking about these things that they do, and I'm like, I can't hold down a real job, like like all these things, like it's just nice to be like, wait a minute, they've done these things, but also like I have a YouTube channel that some people watch, and also I've taught myself languages. Like a lot of people are like, wow, that's crazy cool that you do that, and like even if I don't think of it as much then, like if I think about it overall, like I am doing things with myself, so it's like kind of like a nice uplifter to my mood to be like, wait a minute, I can do things.
Yeah, because a lot of times, please, you were gonna speak. Speak.
Whereas I'm kind of the opposite in that if ever I'm having a rubbish day, and people often will be, they'll say like, but like whatever, you did a play, or like you do languages, or sorry, I don't want to whine so much this voice, but or like, you know, you've done so well in school or whatever. It's because I feel uncomfortable being like, let me just say compliments. That's how I feel. That's why I'm feeling uncomfortable mentioning it. But for me, that has the opposite effect. That makes me feel terrible because number one, I feel like I shouldn't feel the way that I feel, which is irrational because that's not how it works. But also because usually I get really down because I stress out. So everything, because I don't know, like as I'm sure both of you know, like everything comes out of hard work, and usually that hard work leads to me being a bit burnt out and needing time off. And so it often has the reverse effect for me because I'm like, but I'm aware of everything I've worked for. I'm aware of the energy that's taken me, and how it has not been this thing that just happened, but actually like now I'm a bit messed up. So I don't know. So in many ways for me that has never worked.
I see what you mean.
But I can see why that would. But it just, I don't know. It's something that always makes me feel worse for those two reasons.
That's really
I think a lot of it for me is no, I don't think I want to like fully give the backstory on the podcast. I feel like that's a little too personal. But I don't know, just like events in my life, like I feel like I don't know, I guess I handle validation very differently, and I'm used to having other people tell me that I can't do anything, and less so people saying like, oh, you learned these languages, and more so people kind of telling me what I can do is less than like what I have ended up doing. So I think it's kind of one of those things where like my validation comes a lot more from myself, and it's good that I've now built up the fact that I can validate myself, because for a while that wasn't even there. But I think it's like one of those things where it's like I kind of prove people wrong then through that, so it's one of those nice feelings of like, hey, wait, I did a thing, like, sweet.
Well, weirdly, as a consequence, because of that kind of thing, then my validation only comes from me, because then it means that because I'm like, well, you know, these things don't mean anything.
I think I'm
and like
a bit
ultimately
the
at the end of the day I'm sad. So then so that's, and I find it really difficult to get over that fact. So you know, where I'm like, well, I can't, you know, I can't get over that, and I'm sad, and even though I've done all of these things, I would rather have not done these things and be happy, which is, I don't know. Which is not what people want you to say. People want to be like, yeah, everything has been worth it. But actually, I don't know, it's really rubbish and lonely. So at times, so I don't know. So even though and so I think, and also the people that say that kind of thing to me, it feels like, well, you don't.
Exactly.
Because it's like also because the things that I value, I don't know. It sounds so rubbish. Don't
worry about it. It's fine.
I was gonna use my favourite word, which is a super British word. It's my favourite word. Oh my goodness! I just heard my flatmates talking outside in French, and someone.
Shiny.
What was I just talking about?
Honestly, that's us when we're in public.
Exciting.
I think we've talked about this. We play the game of like somebody walks past us. What language were they speaking?
Yes. I love that game. I'm rubbish. Like sometimes I'm like, was that English? And then it takes me a long time. Oh my goodness, what was I just saying? Oh yeah, so it often, I don't know, that those are, even though I am proud of the fact that I can, you know, like I am proud of the things I've done, I don't know, I don't really, that's not what, like, you know, in my life, I want to make other people happy, and I want to, and so, I don't know, it's this weird thing where even though I am, like, I love the things I do, I can't, like, you know, have proper relationships with other people, and you know, I know I'm putting too much emphasis on my relationships with other people, but I'm not a religious person, and I don't have, like, you know, I don't have a higher being that I can have, I don't know, like, I have nothing else, and so really it's like, it's just me, and so therefore the things that I have to find meaning in are the relationships with other people, and having just meaning in my work it leads to a weird
because then you were talking about that burnout, and you realize how much energy it takes to like make yourself. I relate to that a lot. Oh my gosh,
that's something I never thought of too, but I think recently I've had a lot more like times where I've just like had a crisis, because I've realized that like I like hit a point in my life where for other reasons, like not necessarily when I was learning languages, but like before that, like I hit a point where I just stopped and I isolated myself from literally everyone for like multiple years. So now it's like I can't form relationships with people because like I've been so out of touch with that like ability that at this point it's very hard for me to like start communicating with someone and then keep communicating and like know how a friendship works, because I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing, and then I stress over it and all that stuff. So I think I've taken the opposite approach of where I'm like, it's fine, I still don't need anyone, I'll just learn languages. And like I've definitely been trying more, but I think at this point I feel like it's never gonna work out for me again, so I'm like starting to put more emphasis on, like, even though I'm trying with other people, I like still have an emphasis on like my work, because I feel like that's the one thing I can do.
Oh my gosh.
I know, wait, I just got really deep on the podcast.
Can you hug
I'll hug her.
Please?
I'm sorry.
Give her a hug. Like,
it's gonna be okay.
But like, it's so interesting because, you know, from all of our interactions, I would never know that that's how you feel.
Oh my gosh,
and this is the weird thing.
No, yeah, I'm good.
Right?
Okay. I thought I heard a tear.
But like,
you heard a tear. I just like him slowly.
I heard it. That's the noise my tears make. That's so. I don't know. I would never. I don't know. How I guess, but then I guess how you present yourself online is also.
Yeah, well, I think I also realized recently, like in trying to make new friends at school, like I realized that how I like put myself off. I'm so worried that I'm going to be like that person that always tags along to things that no one ever wants there. Like I'm worried I'm going to be that person, so I like don't, like, if people are talking about plans, like I just like kind of shuffle out of the conversation and don't invite myself or anything, but it probably just makes it seem like I'm uninterested, and that's probably a big part of my problem. And so like that's a realization I had this year, and was like, oh wait, I could just fix everything. And then like the last few weeks of school, I like started putting myself out there more, and like sure enough, that seemed to be my problem. So like it's one of those things where like you realize it afterwards, I think.
Definitely.
Whereas I just sort of, I vocalize it to all my other friends, where I'm like, lol, you all have so many more friends than I do. And they're always like, no, you have more friends than I do. And I'm like, haha, I have no friends. I'm, I'm sure they don't really mean it when they're, so like, I actually think that's I don't know, actually I was about to say everyone has that, and I'm not sure everyone does have that, but I can really relate to, especially when people are talking about plans, I'm always like, I'm gonna look at this. This is wall. I'm gonna keep looking at this wall. Wow, there's so many things happening on this wall. Yeah. Oh, okay. The conversation moved on. So that's often how I like.
Yeah, I don't know. There are some people that just can be like, "Oh, can I come along with you guys?" And like, but like, I don't have that in me. I'm like, "Oh, I hope you guys have fun." And then like, or like even like they'll be talking and they'll be like, "We're gonna go do this," and I'm like, "Have fun," and they'll be like, "Do you want to come with us?" And I'm like, "Okay." Like.
Yeah, but like this is the funny thing that I don't think it's an introverted extroverted thing though, because I would never do that either.
Okay.
I feel like that's not an introverted thing, because I feel like my introversion is more the like stereotypical introversion of like after being out for a long time with people, I need to go be in silence for a little while, as opposed to like getting energy off of people. And I think it's just me like not wanting to intrude or like feel like a nuisance, and that's like why I won't like invite myself places.
That? You're looking into my soul. I feel that so much. Sorry. Yeah.
Man, we're getting deep. Oh my
gosh. I know. We like.
I'm like, I feel like uncomfortably vulnerable right now.
Oh, uncomfortably vulnerable.
No. I'm just like I'm like, this is a new territory.
I feel like that's.
But I feel like good right now. I'm like, I feel like in touch with my inner soul. You know what I mean?
It's quite cathartic. Yeah. One of my favorite words.
Yes, I love that word.
So yeah. Yes.
Honestly, probably
I don't
that would
know. Be good. So. I'm consulting my notes. So then kind of similar. So then, kind of going contrary to what I was saying, I also think about languages as a form of manage. So when it's not like, oh, I am in the darkness of all dark, when it's more just like, oh, okay, so like I'm now just riding this dark wave. Oh, I have a surfboard and I'm pretty okay at balance sometimes, metaphors. So when it comes to the management stage rather than that, I find the so I wrote documenting progress, and productivity and motivation, because I find
Ooh.
so when you made your video on your bullet journal, and I purchased my not bullet journal because I couldn't do that, but I have my little language book, and seeing that makes me so happy, you know, being like, oh, I've done languages every day this month, and like often more than one, and so seeing that kind of thing and seeing the productivity and seeing like, oh, I can be motivated and it's okay and I'm doing all right. I see it as almost a process of checking in with myself.
I really like that, checking in with yourself. I like that.
And I feel like almost like having the calendar thing like you have, I feel like, because also if I keep up with doing a language every day, even if I'm feeling bad, then when I look back at the month, I don't see that I ever felt bad, because it's like I only see a month of language progress. And I know some people like track their moods and stuff and keep up with it. And I guess that's great in the sense that then you know when you're feeling bad, but I feel like almost the opposite is better for me, because if I can just be like, you didn't feel bad at all this month, I can be like, I'm right on track, like sweet, and it almost kind of boosts my mood in a sense, in the sense that like I feel like, I think when I start to get in a bad place, then it's like not only do I have whatever other stress I've got going on, it's also like, oh, now I have to deal with this, like bad. I have to get out of this rut that I'm in, and like,
it takes energy.
And while, like, I do think sometimes it just involves, like, taking a mental health day and doing nothing, like, then there's the times when it's, like, multiple weeks and you're like, I can't just stay here forever. So, like, just being able to look back at the whole month and be like, no, look, I did things, and even if I didn't feel great on all these days, like, I'm still doing okay enough to get things done, and so I can do that for another month, like...
Yeah, whereas I have, like, multiple, I'm a historian, so I love sources.
That's so cool.
And I love graphs. So, you know, I have this, but then I also do keep track of my moods, because I find it because of things like being able to be like, but I you know, I've made a video every day this month. Then I find it, so then I can miss, because especially for me, everything happens really, really gradually. So it's just like, I can't control my temperature anymore, but I don't know why. Or like, oh, you know, this is a normal sleep cycle, isn't it? I'm just stressed. And because I explain everything away, I need to keep a more concrete track of my mood, so that I can be like, this is like 3 weeks now of being all grey. This needs to be addressed, and I probably need to go back and see my GP. So for me, I need that to be able to be like, to be able to spot things, because I can, because it's like, it's so easy to go into denial on things and to conflate being productive with that. So it can almost, for me, it's often a distraction, because, you know, so because even when I've done something every day, sometimes it has just been one Duolingo lesson, and actually, you know, I was having a really rubbish day, but like you, I also forget it, because I don't want to remember it. I don't want that to be something that but then I need a place that I can look at that kind of stuff, so that I can be like, oh, here's an issue.
Yeah, I think I keep track of that more in my own brain, and I think that's what helps, is then when it's not like an issue, like if it's not like, oh, I haven't left bed in the past 6 days, that probably a problem.
I should maybe get up and eat something.
Like, if it's not a problem, then I can just, like, if it was like 1 or 2 bad days where I like wasn't feeling my best, or like maybe had a like meltdown halfway through the day or whatever, then it's easy enough for me to be like, okay, yeah, it acted up at one point, but I'm doing okay again, so I can just kind of throw that aside and look at like the good in the month. But I think I probably need a tracker if I wasn't more like aware of it, and I think it's just that since it's something I've like had going on in my life for so long, at this point it's like something that I just like keep track of, and that way when I notice something's going on, I'm like, time to check in on that, like
whereas it's so new to me. Like it's something that I haven't even had to deal with for a year. So it's something, and like, you know, and prior to that, even though I had lots of close friends that had, you know, problems with their mental health and specifically depression, it was something that was so foreign to me. I couldn't understand the concept of people not, you know, I was like, why don't I just go to bed earlier? And like I was like all of the worst things because and I wouldn't say that to them. I just wouldn't understand it in my brain, and I would do all the things that other people think are comforting, like being like, you know, everyone gets down sometimes, or you know, I tried really, you know, because I thought that was helpful, because when people are going through a rational like when someone's going through a breakup, it's really helpful to remember that other people go through breakups and breakups are rubbish. That's really, really helpful. But when you're going through something with mental health, you already don't feel validated.
Yeah, and it might not be correlated to any specific event, so it sort of just kind of like pops up, and you're like, oh, so, I have this to deal with now.
But because it's so new to me, it's something that I'm still rubbish at, like, keeping track of, because as soon as the day passes, I'm like, I don't even remember. So at the moment, I don't remember what it's like to be depressed, because it feels like a different person.
Yeah.
But then when I'm depressed, I don't remember what it's like to be a normal person. So I mean, normal person. I know that's a phrase that is not.
That's in quotations.
Phrase, but I'm sorry. Quotations. Yeah. Also, I'm just sorry if I've said anything offensive throughout this podcast. I really haven't meant to. I know this is a sensitive topic.
I don't think I've been offended by anything, but I guess we should all probably apologize
like,
for any offensive content.
Yeah, if anything's offended
you. Someone out there that was like, that's not how. Well, because also I think it's like important to note that we all, even if we have like the same or similar mental illnesses, we all experience them differently. We experience life differently, but also like the illness themselves. And then there's also the whole fact of like, it is interesting how like we differ in possibly just the amount of time we've spent with it, since you're so new to it. But
yeah, I find it interesting because
you're saying, I are both have had it for a while. I don't exactly know when things started with you, but I've had to deal with it for like many a year.
Well, so I can like kind of pinpoint when it started for me, because like I could say like 10th grade.
Okay, I've had mine longer than you then.
Yeah, I'm talking about like when treatment started for me. At least like yeah, I could say then, because then I'm like, I can literally not remember any school prior to then, and like I can tell, okay, here was probably when I started medication and whatnot, and then like go onward.
What's 10th grade?
No, it's okay. Do I need to translate what 10th grade is?
Yes. How old are you on 10th grade?
How old am I?
Grade? Like secretly,
10?
No,
9?
In 10th grade? No, Matt, stop. We're not 9 or 10 in 10th grade.
Okay, I was like 11 or 12.
No, you weren't in 10th grade.
Yeah.
10th grade? Matt, you're like 15, 16 in 10th grade.
I was 13 or 14.
No, you weren't.
I was 13 or 14.
You weren't.
Oh no, here is the fight! The fight
Matt, okay, we're gonna do some simple math. You're in 12th grade right now, and you are 18.
Okay, and I was 17 a few months ago. So then that means in 11th grade, I was 17 and 16. So that means in 10th grade,
you were 15
I was 15 and 14.
No, you were 15 and 16.
So if it was happening in the summer between 9th and 10th grade, which is when I think it was,
16.
I was 14 or 15.
I'm sorry, so yes. Also, but I guess it's quite useful in a way. Just moving on. I guess it's quite useful in a way that I'm sorry, I wasn't expecting that to be
my age.
I thought that was like, I was like, this is something where there's an answer. Like this will, like I asked it quietly because I was like, let me just move on, because in 10th grade in the UK, well, year 10, you are 15 and 16. So I thought we were different years.
No, I think it's about the same, actually. I think, because do you guys graduate,
it's like off slightly, I think.
Like, before you go to uni, you're like 18, right? Yeah, so it's the same here.
That's, so you finish in year 13.
Oh, see, we finished, it's 12th grade, but that's because we have kindergarten, so it's like 1, basically 13.
So 12th grade is technically year 13, yeah.
How old are you? Oh my god. How old are you in kindergarten? Like, I always have to Google this. Whenever something happens, when they're like, it was like when I was in 12th, or like, it was like when I was in like 5th grade.
I think you're like 4 or 5 or 6. And then there's preschool before that, which is like not mandatory, but you can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it not mandatory? That's really interesting.
I don't know if that's changed. I think it's not mandatory.
As far as I know.
It's optional.
But you have to start in kindergarten. That's when like they come and take your children if you're not sending them to school. No, yeah, but what I was saying before you started debating
I'm sorry. I felt personally attacked.
I'm so sorry.
It's interesting, like, how we use languages and, like, experience things differently after, like, different periods of time. Because I think also, like, just certain things, like me not keeping track of things anymore because I'm like, yep, it happens. And also, like, more so my need to kind of get something done at least, just because Sometimes
Yeah.
I'm willing to take like a full day off, but I feel like
You
mental
are
health
not.
days, I at least need to do something because I know that otherwise, like, I'm more likely to just spiral into doing nothing for a longer period of time. And
Yeah,
I think since I've
okay.
had it for so long, I'm like, I've wasted so much time just like dealing with this
Right.
that I'd rather like get at least a small thing done today. Like,
Yeah.
Whereas I'm like, I have the right medication. It's never going to happen to me ever again, right? It's done now. I've said goodbye. So I'm super in denial about that.
well, I mean, it also depends because I'm also not on medication. So, yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Mhm.
Okay.
I am.
Yeah,
I
I tried medication, it didn't work for me,
So that
so...
wasn't a sarcastic cool. That was a genuine. Sorry, that wasn't a like.
No, I know,
no.
I know.
Sarcastic cool.
Don't worry.
No, yeah, so, I mean, you might actually be good. I don't know, I guess that would be an interesting thing to check up on in a little while, is, like,
How exciting!
bring you back
I
just for
mean,
that, a check-in with
I-
Ophelia, so...
like, you know, like a 30-second
like,
segment.
you good?
Are you alright? Meh.
You alright, mate?
Yeah. So, yeah. British.
Oh, thank you. Yes.
So that kind of, I guess, you know, talking about it not happening for a very long time, that makes me think about my recent experience, and which leads me on to the idea of language communities and how, you know, discovering just so much inspiration, because over the Christmas period, that was like the worst time ever, and like last Christmas, and yeah, Christmas is really hard.
I don't know why that
generally,
is.
I
It's like every year I'm like,
think.
oh, here it comes.
It's because it's meant to be. It's like it's there's a lot of
Yeah.
you know, there's a lot of pressure. It's like, you know, like, I mean, so like for some people, family can be quite stressful. Also because it's like the idea that this is the nicest.
And you're
time
like,
of the
well, what if I
year.
don't agree with the
like
public consensus?
Sure.
And then there's the whole seasonal thing
Sure.
if you're affected by that at all.
Yeah.
Like, I know, I don't even know if I
Also that
necessarily
as well.
have the seasonal affected disorder, but I just hate the winter, so I'm just generally in a worse mood when it's cold outside.
Right. Whereas I'm just all sweaty and gross because London's not supposed to be warm, and I just feel so, like, I keep looking up and I'm like, wow, I can like see my own in my face. So it's great, it's nice, sexy. But over that Christmas period, I discovered Damon and Joe, and I watched all of their videos in the space of 2 weeks as well. And then actually I told you wrongly. I watched Damon and Joe in the space of 2 weeks, and then I found all of the Babbel videos,
Yeah.
like, you know, their like language challenge videos. And so that's why like some of the first videos I ever started doing were language challenge videos, because I was just like, I want to be, and just you know, seeing all of these people, I like. That was and then coming across your channel, and the first ever video I saw was the what was it called? The Polyglot books.
Oh my
Oh,
gosh,
okay.
what? That's so cool.
And because it kept coming up in my in the recommended videos, because I like had watched like all of Damon and Joe's videos and then the Babbel videos too many times, and then it kept being like, and then it kept recommending me, and I was like, okay, I guess I'll just watch this video, and then I was like, okay, now I must watch all of their videos. And I think just, I don't know, there's so much inspiration, and and what I'm finding, the more involved I become in the like language community, is that it's a community, and people are really lovely. It's such a nice part of the
totally
internet.
agree.
And so, and like, I think mental illness can be a really lonely thing, and I
You're
think,
just slowly
you
pushing
know,
me away.
most internet people, listen, you know, we
I was trying to lift my leg up and like
okay?
sit in a certain way, and I accidentally like kicked her. I'm sorry. No.
My
this
chair
doesn't need
has
to have
wheels
another
on it,
fight.
and he's just like slowly nudging me out. He's like, it's fine, you can go.
Listen, I'm on the uncomfortable chair, so you can have the
That's
comfy
true.
chair. But you were saying.
Okay, silver linings. Yeah, I just think it's, I don't know, for me, also an important part of, I don't know, managing things is like filling my, filling my brain,
Yeah.
consuming a lot of really motivating, inspirational people,
Consuming
and
them,
the kind of
devouring their
positivity.
souls.
Yeah, I've got both of your souls. Quite tasty. It was alright. We'll eat again. And so, see, this is the kinds of bad jokes I make when I edit out.
Because like, that's why I love doing the live streams, because like I genuinely do them most of the time when I'm like in a lull mentally, or like I'm not having motivation. Like I mentioned, I don't know if anyone was there when I started the live stream, because I was having, it wasn't going out to subscribers at first because it was private, and then I was like, oh, I should like try to restart this, and then I was just like, people will show up, and I was just talking, and I was like, I've been trying to do Norwegian every day for like the past 2 weeks, and I have not done it. It's been in my journal, I just have not done it, so I just wanted to like come out here and talk with everybody, because it always like just fills me with positivity. And even like responding to comments, like I've had some anxiety responding to comments, just because we get a lot now, and it's really weird. And I also hate saying that, because I'm always like, I had this thing where I was like, I hate it when big YouTubers are like, oh man, I don't have time to respond to everybody. And then we had this thing like, we're 2 people responding to all of them, and we try to get to everyone, like to make it a point. And like it's become,
and
oh
it's
my
still
goodness,
like hard. Like I think I always thought that you need to be a much bigger YouTube channel before it becomes overwhelming. But I think I've learned that once you hit the like 1,000 mark, it becomes overwhelming.
Yeah, it's weird.
I think also both of you are because you do things like live streams, because you always make it feel like a conversation.
Yes, it's working.
And so I think so I think also the kind of content you make, it's not just like, okay guys,
remember to like, comment, and subscribe,
watch this video, if you also eat cheese every Tuesday, whatever. And so if it's that kind of thing, then I don't, you might just get you might get comments, but not necessarily, whereas you get people being like, here's how I learn, here's an essay on how I learn this language, or like, here's an essay on like, and like people write so
it's phenomenal.
And so I think so I think it's also the kind of content you make, and also just like the 2 of you always just seem like
thank you. We have people that want us to do like a Discord chat, like a Discord server where you can speak to one another, and I'm like, I'm totally for this, like speaking to like people who love our stuff. I'm like, that sounds awesome, like that's like basically a live stream, why not? And so we've been like in the process of setting that up. People are like, make a Facebook group, like let's talk to one another, and I'm like, okay, sounds good. I love these ideas.
And also link to the like using like the language community for mental health and stuff. Like people are always like, man, I wish I had a friend to learn languages with me the way that you guys have each other. And like I also find that really weird, because I didn't meet Matt like as a language learner either.
We were both like YouTube filmmakers who like had a mutual friend from Scotland, and then we just like got
also,
talking.
Like I was the one that was more interested in languages, and it just so happened that I was like, I feel like learning a language again. Haven't done that in like 2 years or so, and like was going to do that, and Matt was like, I've never learned a language on my own, can I join you? And that's like when we started learning Esperanto, and it kind of snowballed from there. I feel like
it's so weird that like,
so like I mean, I think people don't realize that maybe their friends would be interested as well, but like definitely having a community too, like just the fact that there are like thousands of people watching our videos that are also like commenting like, I wish I had friends, and like I think that
there are people right here that would love to be your friends.
Yeah, there's people in the comments too, so I think having the community is really helpful, because you end up feeling less lonely and alone. And even though like language learning can be super solitary if you're just like sitting with a textbook, like having someone to be like, hey, I also struggled with the genitive or whatever, do you want help? Or like, whoa, nice job getting through like your thing and the language, like good job, and like just having someone to keep motivating you and that sort of thing. I think communities are really good for that.
And like even being, I don't even want to say this because it just sounds weird, because like being like, I guess at the top of the community, you know what I mean? I don't like saying that, but like
being your king.
We run the show here.
Being the great dictator who loves all of you.
You're like being the leader and my lovely assistant Abigail.
Sorry, he is the graphic designer. So,
that is true.
Sorry.
I'm the showrunner over here.
Okay.
And like people are like, I'd love to do a language exchange with you.
Is that what a showrunner is? I feel like a showrunner is like, I don't know. Anyway,
I meant to say like I run the show. Like people are like, oh, you want to do a language exchange, and like having done that with like people who view our content, it's so cool, because like, and like messaging people and actually responding to comments, it feels so much more real than I guess other YouTube channels, that not even those that do languages, but just other YouTube channels in general. And like it feels like a very community-esque thing, and I really like that. And so that's why I'm like, I'm into doing this Discord, because we're at a size right now where I think we can actually use the community to be a community, and it's really cool. I don't know where I'm going with this, but it's just like
Is the program called
Yeah.
Discord? Okay, because I kept being like, I always thought the word was Discord. And I always thought Discord was when things don't go well.
We just like to yell at people.
But, yeah,
That's
okay.
like
Yell.
why.
Yeah, but like in a very particular pit that clashes. Yeah. I see. Okay. Yeah. No. Well, I don't know. I feel like you've made a lovely.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. I feel like
Got
we
progress.
should probably end on this positive note because we have
Yeah.
dinner to consume very shortly.
Ah, what are you having? Important question.
Do you want to say it?
You make it sound like a much bigger
Oh.
deal than it is on the podcast.
Yes,
We're
it is.
having pizza.
Goodness. Oh, I'm jealous. I'd love to
Oh,
be
dude, this
having
New York pizza, it's so good.
Yes, lovely pizza, famous. All of the Italians that live here. Yeah.
Well, we would like to thank you tremendously
Wow.
for appearing on the podcast, the lovely, fantastic podcast.
Thank you so much.
If you are interested
Thank you
in
so
more of
much for
Ophelia's
having me.
content, where might somebody find you?
Just over on Ophelia Vert. That's
Nice.
where I
Awesome.
reside. I never know whether to go Ophelia Vert. I mean, like, or just Ophelia Vert. So, because I don't know, it sounds like my name is already pretentious enough. But yes, they were lovely.
All right,
Yes.
awesome.
So,
well, thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, thank you
And
very
for being the
much.
first guest, you
First
have
guest.
paved a new content.
We should do something. We should do. Okay, I think we should do this.
This
again.
was really fun.
This was just a lovely. I feel like it's very
Right?
cathartic. It was lovely.
Love that word.
So.
No, yes, let's definitely do this again. This was very fun. All right, thank you so much.
Okay. Enjoy your pizza.
Thank you. Bye.